You are listening to the Boundless Enigma podcast with Sam Zins
and Ryan Mulkentine. On this podcast, we dive into the mind, reality, and existence itself to provide you with boundless ideas and insights. We're supposed to have a guest today, Baba G, my main man on TikTok, but that guy is just so go with the flow, so casual. He's loving his life so much that he forgot to come on our podcast again, which is fine. That's how he be. That's how he is.
Yeah,
that's okay. But I don't know if he's gonna be able to come on this podcast if he can't remember.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I love the style. I really do. I mean, that's like go with the flow style. I feel like I resonate with that a lot. I can't say I'm in it as much as he is, perhaps. I've seen his videos. He's like out here, on in a trailer, just saying
Having
I love you to everyone. Yeah. But that's some next level stuff right there.
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, you need absolutely nothing to live happy.
Absolutely.
And this guy,
absolutely.
Honestly, maybe that's the key. It's like just live as cheaply as you can and figure out how to hack your own psychology to be as happy as possible and live poor.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Just, go on the streets, figure it out. Just go with the flow.
Live in the forest, all you gotta do. Start scavenging some mushrooms.
Be one with the trees.
Yeah.
No, dude, but on a real note.
Honestly, though, there's truth in that. There
is. Yeah, on a real note, there is, and obviously, like, I'm not saying, like, for real about going on the streets, but, being one with everything and just going with the flow more often and, having an environment, like, that's less cluttered, I think that there's a lot of truth in the fact that that can give you a lot of peace,
Yeah.
Because something I notice that I do is like I'll look at something and I'll like want to latch on to that with my eyes, and then it engulfs my brain, and it's like, oh, what is this, and I guess when you live in an environment where there's less things, like you're out in the forest and it's like like these are natural things, like it's not like artificial things that you're getting hooked on,
It's like the attachment, you start forming like attachments to like things that genuinely foster joy and happiness versus like forming attachments to like artificial things and like TikTok. Honestly though, okay, people I think have the wrong view about TikTok, because I have been using TikTok recently and it is showing me, like, the algorithm is so good that it's been showing me like these profound philosophy and spirituality videos that are like completely rewiring my brain.
Wow, like, that's interesting.
People are like, oh, you get so sucked in because the algorithm knows what you like, so you spend hours on it. But what if you get sucked into the videos and spend hours on TikTok that are literally giving you the information to change your life?
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
That's awesome. No, I guess it depends on your mindset, because like I see where you're coming from, and I've been there before, so I can even relate to that, where it's like, wow, it's like, oh my god, this algorithm's amazing, like, and I feel what you're saying, and but I obviously, coming from somebody who doesn't have social media, I see the other side of like, oh, it's sucking you in. So, I think it just depends on what you want to do with your life. Like, I personally don't like that. I prefer to be able to do what I want to do and not really have to, like, I don't know. I just don't like being sucked in like that. But I see the appeal of it,
dude. But like, I'm starting to like use my like excitement and like where my energy wants to flow to like help me continue where I'm supposed to be going. Like, using, like, I get sucked into these videos because they're literally what excites me most, is this philosophy and spirituality. And it's accelerating I know we have been programmed to think that being on social media too much is a bad thing. And that is true if you're sucked into the wrong side of social media.
Right.
But what if, so let's say like you could go to see some spiritual guru and get these truths from him and learn from this person and become awakened and be happy and learn how to love and learn how to be at peace with yourself. You know what I mean? And that's like
Mm-hmm.
the ideal that people have. But what if
Right.
those people are literally creating content on TikTok for you right now, which I've found that they are, and they're helping
Yeah,
me.
right.
And so I think I've had this weird shift of like, oh, actually social media can be really good for you if you know how to use it correctly.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that goes for everything. If you can learn how to do things in, moderation and in a smart way, it can be great, and it sounds like that's what you're finding with social media. And I
Yeah.
think you're totally right about that. I guess speaking for myself in this instance of social media, I feel like I'm just the type that would get lured in, like
Yeah.
I would
You're
be able to catch
afraid
myself.
that you would get too sucked in.
Um, I'm afraid in some degree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I also just know how it works. I mean, have you ever seen the documentary? Frick, what's it called? It's about the guy who was like really high up in Twitter. And anyways, basically, what he was saying was like, our job is to just suck you in these little ways that you would never expect us to,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
get you to click on one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
so like I am afraid, but it's not necessarily just about being afraid of myself. It's about being afraid of these companies that want you to get sucked in,
Dude, I think that's totally valid. And the companies that own like Facebook and Instagram and like Twitter, I honestly have the same skepticism for them. And like,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't trust them,
Yeah,
because they have people that come out and say that,
yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong, but I think TikTok is a different animal. I think it's in its own category. Because if you listen to interviews with the creator of TikTok, this guy, he talks about how they they have a different business model where it's not about how long can you keep people on the app. It's about, can you create the best experience for somebody. And
Right.
it's not, and after about like an hour of like scrolling, the TikTok gives you videos about like, hey, maybe you're on this app too much. Like the algorithm will feed you videos to make you
Right.
self-conscious about how much you're using their app.
Yeah.
It's like, in a way,
that
it's
that
like,
that is
it's
true.
the healthiest social media that I've honestly found.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I I do applaud them for that. I think that's great that they, make that, because I remember when I had it. Actually, I think they were even doing it back then, because I recall getting to that point very
Yeah.
horribly, unfortunately. Um, but
Yeah.
but also, you have to look at the other end of the spectrum where they, I mean, why do you think they have the like, comment, share, and whatever buttons all right there where your right thumb is, where you're scrolling, like they want,
Mm-hmm.
they put it there so it's so accessible, it's so easy to keep, and all you do is flip,
Yeah.
you
It's
could
very
get,
easy.
I
Right.
I remember when I had TikTok, I'd be sitting there for hours, and I'd like all of a sudden look at the clock and it'd be like, oh crap, like I haven't even eaten in an hour and a half because I've been just
Yeah.
sitting here scrolling on TikTok, or like I haven't gotten out
Yeah.
of bed this morning because I've just been scrolling. It's like, what am I doing? But
Yeah.
back to what you were
Dude,
saying,
that's
if you can use it right.
yes, exactly. I think it's all about self-awareness. If
Yeah.
you notice yourself having those habits and it's impacting your life in a negative way, then obviously you change your behavior.
Right. Right.
But if you, like myself, have been noticing that this app is actually a tool and it can be used as a tool to help you
Mhm.
get information and learn new things, and can do it in a healthy way where you're not impacting your life negatively outside of the app, then
Yeah.
that's the ideal. That's what everyone, I think, wants. They
Yeah.
don't want it to
Absolutely.
have a negative effect. So
Right.
I guess it's about learning how that
How it
affects
affects you.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that takes learning about yourself first, because like I mean,
Right.
you, because like in order to get out of that like spiral of like constant TikToking or other social medias all day. Like, in order to get out of that, you have to at some point become aware that you are the one that keeps scrolling. It's not, TikTok isn't making you scroll. You're the one that is scrolling on TikTok. So in that regard, yeah, it's definitely on us as consumers to be aware that, hey, like, that's just their job to get me to keep scrolling, or other people to keep scrolling. So like, I have to be aware of myself in order to
Right.
be able to use this like in a healthy way.
I think also people want to trust these like big social media companies. Like it's easier to be like, oh, like, yeah, sure, like I can trust them. Like I know that they have the best interest in mind, because like they're hoping for the bigger, more powerful company to take care of things for them, because that's the easiest solution for them. When in reality, that can be true, but as soon as it's like a dictator of a country, a benevolent dictator is the best leader a country can have. But the problem with dictatorships is that once the perspective changes from benevolence to like, maybe I can get a little bit of something, maybe I can be a little greedy, then suddenly that complete power and complete trust can turn bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think putting all our trust in things like that is kind of is what they want you to do, because then they can start doing that. It's like the second that they gain trust, this is the second that they can start adding in these little widgets that get you to like scroll like for another 15 minutes here and there, and then eventually you're hooked into it. And so, yeah, just being aware that like, that these things are going on, watching that documentary that I watched, and and then after that, if you decide, what, I can handle this, then sure, keep doing it, but just be aware of the fact that, hey, like maybe these companies don't have my best interest in mind,
Yeah. I think that's fueling a lot of like, even if they do what?
Like even if they do have your best interest in mind, kind of like what you're talking about with TikTok, like, it can still happen to you. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, even though that.
It's definitely, it happens to everyone at some point where like you realize like, oh, you were tricked a little bit here.
Yeah, like, for sure.
You were manipulated a little bit into doing this, or to getting this, or to buying this. It's like that's happened to me a bunch of times, and I think like it's causing, at least me, I think I can project this out onto like the world and the US in general, that it's causing like a paranoia almost of like, who can I trust? Should I trust this person? And it's like, because if you keep getting like tricked and manipulated over and over again, like for instance, there was like an app where like you could buy things really, really cheaply. It was like this blue colored app. What was it called? Gosh, it was like a little shop that you could like get like little trinkets and shit from. But like it was super cheap, and like they would have these like things where you could get deals on this stuff, but then like when you got it, like you spend like $10 on like LED lights or something, and then you get it, and then you realize like it's terrible quality, breaks after a week. And it's like, oh, well, I was kind of scammed, because like the marketing makes it look so amazing and it's a good deal. And then you're like, oh shit, I got scammed out of that. And it's like, well, then that makes you feel bad, first of all, that you got tricked. And then it also makes you like start to be very skeptical of like everything else. So then when something good does come around, you don't trust it.
Absolutely. And I think there's like different pathways you can go after something like that happens to you. You could go back down the pathway of like, all right, well, I'm going to give it one more try. It's like gambling, it's like, I'm going to give it one more try. I think I can get a hit on this one, and so you could go that way, or you could go the way that you were just speaking of, like, oh, I don't trust things now. So it's like, then you do get a good deal that comes along and you pass up on it. And then, your friend gets it and they're like, oh, this is amazing. And it's like, oh, well, they're out of stock, So it's like,
yeah,
that sucks.
This is why TikTok is blowing up, because TikTok is all personal creators. They're just a random person who makes videos.
Yeah.
And people trust other random people. Like people like trust their friends when they recommend something. If your friend has gotten something and they're like, no, trust me, this is a good deal, then you're going to go get that thing. Right. And that's everyone on TikTok. Like there's no big brands on, like, they don't blow up because nobody honestly wants them there. You have to be
Yeah.
very personable. You have to be an individual sharing your personal experience to blow up on TikTok, which is honestly another reason why I really like TikTok.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting thought that you have there, because I do recall when I had TikTok, like there'd be like bigger companies that would like have TikTok pages, and I remember
Yeah.
just not being appealed by them at all, really,
No,
like
dude.
at all, like if they came up, I would instantly be like, I'm gonna skip that. I don't really want to see
Exactly.
that. So
Because you
that's
can feel
interesting.
their, like, you feel their motive, like, right away. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, they're just
yeah,
trying to manipulate me again into buying their thing.
yeah, exactly. No, that's interesting that you say that, because that's very true.
We have
And
a
that makes me
radar now,
wonder,
though. You
right?
know,
Right? Yeah,
we
absolutely,
know
absolutely.
when that happens.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You can just feel it out. Like I bet even without putting the name of the like who made the TikTok, I bet like like most people could pick out like, oh, this one's, just a business trying to make money. Like I'll
Yeah.
I'll even see people like individual creators who have like, like a bang can that they're just holding throughout the entire video, and I'm like, all right, that's a little bit egregious. Like I get it, you're trying to make
Yeah.
your money, but it's like I don't know, that's a little too egregious for my liking. So you just start to feel those kind of things out, and you kind of start to feel like, oh, this isn't as authentic as it could be.
Hmm.
And TikTok is a platform where there's a lot of authentic things. I should
There is.
maybe.
Definitely. People are craving authenticity these days. I'm craving authenticity. If I
Oh yeah,
find a video or some personal brand that's just like emanating authenticity and truth,
yeah.
like that's what feels that's like what gets my attention the most. It's when I feel
Oh,
someone like
absolutely.
genuinely sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it goes back to just not wanting to be scammed. It's like nobody likes that feeling.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on what you do with that feeling when you feel it. It's like, are you gonna react to that and like I was saying, like gamble back in, or are you gonna not trust anything, or you could pick this middle ground of being like, you know what? Okay, I got scammed by watching that Mountain Dew TikTok. Am I gonna watch it next time? No, probably not.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know, just little things like
It's a
that.
self-resolving issue. Like when you it those it maybe like that video will blow up at one point and people will like buy into it, but then like once they realize like, oh well, they're just like trying to get my attention and money to like blow up their brand, and you
Yeah,
start to like realize that, then they're going to start to drop off unless people are going to want to watch that. Even if maybe they succeeded in the very beginning, people will learn that like they were scammed out of their time,
right.
of
Yeah,
their attention.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and nobody likes that.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I have can I switch off this topic real quick?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like a 360. My girlfriend and I were talking about this last night, and I'm having a hard time understanding where I sit with all this. So, you know how in like stand-up comedy and everything that like first of all, do you listen to any stand-up comedy
Yeah, I
at
do.
all? Okay.
Some.
Like who do you listen to out of curiosity or watch?
Okay. My favorite stand-up comic is Bill
Yeah.
Burr.
Oh my god, he's hilarious.
I
Oh god, he's
love
hilarious.
him.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just curious as to where you stood with all this. So
Okay.
I was talking to my girlfriend about like the usage of like, you know, gay or the F slur or the R word
F
in
slur?
like,
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, like in comedy, like in a comedic sense. So like
Yeah.
I personally, I'll give my stance real quick. I personally don't particularly like the F slur, and I don't necessarily agree
Mhm.
with using the R word, yeah, even if
Yeah.
it's in a comedic sense.
Mhm.
But have I laughed at things where they say that? Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Like unfortunately, sometimes it really hits the funny bone.
Yeah.
But anyways, but like I don't necessarily mind using gay in like a funny term, like in a comedic
Yeah.
sense, because like I know that I'm not actually like making fun of gay people. Like in my
Right.
everyday like practical life, I would never make fun of anybody for being gay, and I would
Yeah.
never have anything against anybody who's gay. So,
Mhm.
but she was saying, my girlfriend was saying, like, oh, but that's like reinforcing the idea to people who maybe do think that's okay, like in the audience per se. It's reinforcing to them that like, oh, it is okay to use it in that sense, and I'm like saying like, well,
Dude.
everybody's got their own opinions, and I can't
Yes.
change people's opinions. And she's like, well, you
Yes.
can influence. And I'm like, oh, it's so hard. Like what do you think about
Dude.
this whole situation?
Okay. I have a really interesting thought about this. I think there are
Okay.
3 levels of people when it comes to things like this. The bottom
Okay.
level are the people that use those words to genuinely be harmful and to be offensive.
Yeah.
And those are the people that cause the second level of people to be so serious about not using it, and to be very like, don't like let's be respectful because there's harm down here. Like the people down here are really using it harmfully.
Yeah.
And then the third level of people are the people that understand how to take responsibility for how they're feeling, and that they're not responsible for how anyone else feels or interprets things. And they're almost like above these two, because now they're able again to use the words because they're not using it offensively, and they know that if they offend somebody, it's not really their fault because it's how these people are interpreting it. And
True.
if they're
Yeah.
these people are genuinely using it for comedic purposes, to be funny, to foster joy and love in the world. And and the reason why this is so important, the third level, is because it disempowers the first level. It takes away the hate and harm. And so in a way, the second level is almost empowering the first level.
Yeah. Because yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like it like this level gets this level to want to use it even more.
Yes,
and
exactly.
probably in an even worse way.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. That I didn't think about it that way, but I've thought about like that, like philosophy in different realms of life, and that's totally how it works. If you give these shitty people and things time of day, then they're gonna keep eating at you because it's working.
Yes.
That's what they want. They want you to.
It's like the N-word.
Their time.
Where Black people have reclaimed the N-word for themselves. It's like that's the third level. Like they've shifted the meaning of the N-word to use for themselves in a joyful and like brotherly way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they've reclaimed it away from the hate that it originally was. And I think the comedy usage of those words, like the R word and the F word, I think it's honestly a good thing. And the second level is just deciding to interpret it the way that they're interpreting it.
Right. No, that I like your description of it. I like I said, I have to think about this more because it feels like such a hard topic, and I think you explained it really well. It's hard because you have these different levels of people who are all interpreting it different ways.
Yes,
and it's like, how do you coordinate with all of them? Like you can't coordinate with all of them.
And so at the end of the day, you kind of just have to say, okay, I cannot control how anyone's going to take this, and I'm still going to be authentic to my comedy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I know deep down, like I am not, that bottom level person, I am not that person. So it's like,
so if anyone calls you a terrible, hateful person, it doesn't affect you because you know that you're not.
Right. That is well put. Shit, that was really good. Yeah. It's like,
Right?
It's like, you can call me a bad person, but it's like, I know I'm not, so that's all right.
Yeah. So it's fine if you want to view me that way. Yeah. Also, by calling me out, you're giving me more attention, so my comedy is getting raised up more.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's an interesting way of putting it. I'll have to talk to my girlfriend about this, and then come back to you next episode.
Yeah,
and just maybe talk again about this because, like I said, it's a tough subject.
Yeah, that was cool. I feel like I can't believe I pulled that analogy out of the 3 levels.
That was really good.
That wasn't it so good? That was so cool that I did that.
Was that so good? Yeah, that was really good. No, but like not to sidetrack us too much, but have you ever seen Kill Tony by chance?
Yeah,
Okay, well, it's a good live podcast. It's like basically a live comedy show where they pull random names out of a bucket, and the
Yeah.
person comes up and does 1 minute of stand up comedy right away, and then Tony
Mhm.
is a comedian, Tony Hinchcliffe, and he interviews the person who did it. And sometimes there's just people who are horrible on there, and it's super interesting. So give it a watch if you like comedy. But that's kind of what made me bring it up with my girlfriend last night, because I was telling her about it, and I was like, I know that you don't like this taste of comedy, but here it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah. That's really interesting. That's like,
yeah,
I'm glad that like we went a 360 on that, because that was really interesting.
agreed. I've been very curious about this recently, because I've been getting more into watching comedy. It's great, and I actually watched one of Rodney's clips yesterday. It's pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah. But,
Nice. Yeah. I've been following this comedian Duncan Trussell. He's also got a podcast.
Yeah.
My favorite podcast. He's a comedian, and he's releasing a new show. Or he's
oh, that's awesome.
a show is being released where he's one of the characters. It's like an animated show.
Oh, nice.
What's it called? It's called
Is it
Crapopolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've not heard of
It's
that.
on
That
Hulu.
sounds
Looks really interesting.
Cool.
It's like the same creators of Rick and Morty are the creators of the show.
Wow, I'll have to give that a watch. Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
sounds interesting.
Yeah,
right?
I just watched one of the Kill Tonys. He was on Kill Tony the other day.
Oh, nice.
So,
Really?
yeah.
Duncan Trussell?
Because Tony he like invites a comedian to sit with him during all the interviews and everything. So like in one of the episodes, it was Duncan. So
nice.
Duncan's awesome.
He's popping off. He's really getting attention these days.
I love his voice. He's got such a raspy like kid voice. Like I don't even I can't even begin to do it, but it's a soothing voice, because it's like it's this voice of wisdom and like calmness.
It's like it's wisdom,
I would describe it,
and calmness, but there's also
certainty.
Like an unseriousness, like a silliness as well, like an edge of
right.
like doesn't really matter, just kind of having fun to it.
Yeah, absolutely, and
yeah.
It's interesting because I had only heard him, on podcasts for a while, and then I saw what he looked like, and I was like, wow, that's like I didn't expect him to look like that. Like he's just like character to me,
dude.
But he's just a human. He's a normal guy.
He is. He's just human. I saw him in person. I went to go see his comedy show in Madison. I drove up there with my girlfriend 2 hours up, because I love Duncan. He's my favorite comedian. Now, Bill Burr's my favorite stand-up comedian, but my favorite comedian of all time is Duncan Trussell for sure.
That's
so
awesome.
I go up to see him, and I have this like image of what he looks like, and he gets up on stage, and he's this like short guy who's like kind of got a belly, and I don't know. I never would have guessed that that's what he looked like. I feel like in my mind, I imagine him like to be like a big, tall kind of like man. I don't know why.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how we form these images in our heads like before even seeing somebody? Like our minds just bring us there. Like your mind brought you to that point.
Right, dude. That goes back to expectations, like our last podcast. How much our thoughts shape how we view the world, how much our beliefs about things. I believed that that's what Duncan that's what he looked like, and so that was my reality until I saw him in real life, and then that reality shifted to what he looks like in real life. So it's like how it's all up here, dude. Life is all up here, how we view it.
And I think it's interesting you say it's all up here, because really it's all here, like it's everything. Like our perception, we feel like, is up here. Mm-hmm. I think that's due to our eyes being here, and our brain, and we like, because you see the world through here. But maybe literally
it's not.
It's like literally every part of us, It's that non-duality.
Yeah. So we have this feeling that like where is the eye? Is the eye where my face is? Because that's where my eyes and my taste and my smell and my hearing is. It's all in this area.
Right.
So I feel like I am centered here in this facial region. But I is just as much down at my pinky toe as much as it is in my eyeball. It's like where really
Absolutely.
is, it's just a concept. Like where is I? Where is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, is it my
Exactly.
brain? I can't feel my brain.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
how do you know where I really am?
Yeah. And it's like, is there even an I? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, like you said, like, is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Like, or maybe it's all of that. And if that's the case, if my whole body and like essence is I, then, wouldn't, this notebook next to me also be I, because it's part of my reality.
Right. Yes. Oh my
You know?
gosh. It's like, as like you can sense, is it just because the perception seems to be coming in somewhere? Why does it feel like it's coming in somewhere? That maybe there just is sight, there just is feelings.
Yeah.
Where is that? Where is it? Really, where is it? Because, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's everywhere, It's like
Right.
the reality that you experience is you, because all you are is experience. Like that's
Yeah.
to my knowledge. Like
Yes.
obviously I don't know yet, but that's to what I perceive it as to be.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
I don't know.
I feel like if you were to download TikTok and create an account and you were just to start, like, whenever you had an insight or a thought, you would just record a 30-second video of like, I've had this crazy thought and it's totally transforming the way I see the world right now. And here's what it is. And you shared that. I think you'd blow
Dude,
up,
that's
bro.
a good idea.
I
That's a
think you don't
good
even
idea. Yeah.
you don't have to use the app, but just
Right.
like upload it for other people that are using it. Like,
Yeah.
I think people would
Damn.
love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. I will heavily consider that. I've never thought about just joining and not, using it, just
Right.
upload
I mean, it might be tricky. Like, you might,
it might be. Yeah.
but like,
we'll see.
I feel
Okay,
like you have value, and TikTok will, if you have something valuable that people enjoy, it will push your content out. So it's like, it's just free views.
Free.
And if it helps people, then it helps people. You know?
Yeah, true. That's so true. I'm gonna heavily consider that.
You should. I've actually been growing a TikTok account.
Nice.
And I'm up to 10,700 followers.
Okay. That's awesome.
And
man.
I've just recently got accepted to their monetization program, so I'm now making money from my TikTok videos.
Like out of curiosity, first of all, do you need like 10,000 followers or 10,000 views? Like, how do you get into monetizing? 10,000 followers?
You need 10,000 followers, 100,000 views in the last 30 days, and have to be over the age of 18.
That's pretty cool.
But I've literally just like once a day for the past like few months, maybe like once every, sometimes I fall off, I do like once a week or something, but I would just upload a video of like, I had this thought and I think like it's really interesting, here it is. Or I'd be like, I saw this video and here's what I think about it. I would just like talk about random stuff that I thought was interesting. And like some of these videos are getting thousands of, I got one video that went up to 1 million views. It was a YouTube video that I liked. And I was like, I really like this YouTube video. I'm going to show you a minute segment of it. Let me see what you think. And it blew up. And it's just me sharing what I liked.
That is so cool, man.
So it's like, you can just share what you are experiencing and what you think. And you might, people like that.
That's so interesting that people eat that up. It's just like, I eat it up. It's like wow, that's what they're experiencing. It's like, it doesn't even have to be. I feel like it doesn't even have to be anything like life changing. It could just be like, oh, here's a little thought that I had. And I guess that is life changing in its own way. So
yeah,
that's a really cool concept.
I think we like limit ourselves. We have this belief that like, that can't be us. Like the person that has those thousands of followers, that millions of followers, we somewhere in here we genuinely believe that it can't be us, that
Yeah.
we're not able, our little thoughts, like you said, like, oh, it's not that life changing, it's just a little thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it genuinely triggers an insight in somebody else that's profound, and
Right.
you have no idea how they're going to interpret it. Just like when you
Absolutely.
say the F word or the R word during comedy, you don't know how somebody's going to take it. It's
Right.
completely up to how they take it. So like you could have
Yeah.
a profound effect on somebody with a small thing.
Absolutely. You know, it's that like concept of like one man's trash is another man's treasure. You know, it's like
Yeah.
to me this could just be a simple little thing, but to somebody else it'd be like, whoa, you know, that's crazy. So yeah, I like that thought process behind things, and you know, and I mean, and also I think that I love the idea of just putting it out there, you know, and recording it, you know, just once a day, a thought a day, you know, it's like
Yeah.
that's cool to kind of keep a log of too, not
Mhm.
only just to get the views and
Right.
everything, you know, and the views are
Yeah,
that's
it's
just a
also
bonus.
exactly. It's like it's like my version of journaling is like I just record myself with my thoughts
That's pretty cool.
in a way.
That's pretty cool.
That's always like spoke to me more than journaling for some reason.
That's interesting. No, that's cool. I have recorded like videos of myself before just talking about things, and I do notice I love how much of a flow it feels like. It's like I feel like I can just say whatever I want, and
Yeah.
it just it comes out, and I don't even know where I'm
Right.
going, you know. I
Yeah.
feel like I do that sometimes on this podcast. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm doing it,
Yes.
you know.
Dude, where do you think I pulled out that 3-tier thing? I don't
Yeah,
know
I
where I
know.
pulled
Yeah,
that out from. I don't know. It just flowed out of me.
Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, this sounds right. Yep.
Yeah.
And no, obviously it's more than just like it sounds right. It's more so like, oh, like I made this connection and here it is, you know.
Yes.
No,
Right.
that's
And
awesome. That's what these creative outlets are great for. It gives you the ability to work with what you have instead of just, you know, piling it up inside
yes.
of you and just like being like,
Right.
oh, let me think about this. Let me think about that. Like it's like, oh,
Right.
here's what it is. Here's what I'm thinking. And you know,
Right.
I could be wrong about it. Kind of like I literally asked you when we were talking about the comedy stuff. I asked you like, what do you think about this? Because I don't know what I think about this, you know. And now
Yeah.
I have a better understanding of it,
Mhm.
you know. So just talking and
Dude,
communicating is great.
recently I've been like learning about like belief systems.
Yeah,
And I've heard about it before. I've heard about like, oh, like if you change your beliefs, if you get rid of limiting beliefs, you can change your life. And it's just like I was like, oh yeah, sure, probably. Like I bet that's true, but it sounds like kind of hard.
for sure.
You know?
Yeah,
Like, oh yeah, I guess that sounds right, but I don't know how to do that.
Cool. Yeah.
And recently I've stumbled into some information about how to start doing that. And I've been doing it the last few days. And bro, it is a game changer. If you
Wow.
change your beliefs about
Yeah.
yourself and about reality, and you
Huh.
fundamentally, there are two types of beliefs. There are positive beliefs and negative beliefs.
Yeah.
And the negative beliefs are constricting and constraining, and they're trapping. They trap you there. They make you
Yeah.
feel like that you can't break out of the negative belief. And it's like a
Yeah.
self-fulfilling, it's a cycle, that negative belief.
Yeah.
Like, I can't ever do this thing, and here's why I can't do it. And then you stay in that spot to be more negative. Versus the
Yeah.
positive beliefs are, I have complete freedom and choice, and I do have the necessary energy and insight in myself right now to change things for the better. Like that's the positive belief. And anytime I've been like, I don't know why I haven't been able to do this before. I don't know what's changed, but in the last few days, I've been noticing anytime that I have a negative belief, I watch it pop up, and then I'm immediately like, actually, I don't have to believe that. And then when it pops up, I just decide in that moment to humor what it would be like, just to play around with the idea that it's actually the opposite is true. and then I'll just kind of let that be there, and I'll kind of like play with that belief a little bit, and then take it on. And
Yeah.
then that literally shifts my reality, because I'm now
Yeah.
playing with this new belief that more is possible, life is better, things are, you know what I mean? Like just these different
Yeah.
beliefs. Anytime a negative one comes in, just kind of playing with the idea that the positive is actually true. And
Yeah.
then that becomes the true reality.
Yeah, like finding the beauty in the ugly type of thing. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
necessarily that you like you originally thought it was ugly, but it's like, oh, let me like, okay, I think this is ugly. What's
Yes.
beautiful about it? And then you look at it, it's like, oh, okay, this, that,
Right.
that, that. It's like, oh wow, there's a lot more things beautiful about it than I ever thought there
Right.
was. And now all of a sudden it's not ugly, it's beautiful.
Basically, the idea is that life is fundamentally meaningless and completely subjective. And
Yeah.
so you can, if you want to believe the negative belief, it's
Yeah.
true. It's real. That's true. But if you choose to believe the positive belief and to adopt that, then that is true and that is real for you. And so it's not that one is true over the other. It's what do you choose to, which belief do you choose to be your reality?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's not
And
like one is real and one isn't. Both are
yeah.
real if you believe
Yeah,
them.
yeah. It's just like, do you want to have negative, beliefs, or do you want to have positive beliefs? It's like
Yeah.
maybe if you feel like you're a negative person and you don't want to be,
And
maybe look into those.
if you right now, as you're listening to this, are thinking that, oh, I like that does, I feel like I don't have choice. Like I can't choose to change my beliefs. That is a negative belief right there.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
you need to kind of go back behind and keep looking, where is it stemming from? What's the original belief that I need to change so that I can stop, so that I can gain choice? Because somewhere back there, if you believe that you don't have the choice to change your beliefs, that's a negative belief that you need to go back to and change. That's why these things are so insidious, because they're
yeah,
super self-containing and self
yeah.
uh,
Deprecating.
fueling. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
absolutely. Yeah, and they happen every day. I remember Leo Gura. Of course, I bring up a Leo Gura quote. I can't do that. I can't not bring him up every episode because he's just so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I watched a video a while back about, like, he was saying, like, we make micro and macro, um what's it called, judgments, and
Hmm.
and this is similar to what you're saying, is like, you open up your fridge and it's like, oh, bacon, nah, I don't want that. Egg, ugh, no, I don't like egg. Salmon, no, that stinks, I don't like the smell of fish.
Hmm.
And then it's like, oh, pasta, okay, I like pasta, I'll have pasta. And it's like we do this every day and we don't even realize it. We like scan the fridge, we scan the room, we scan a crowd of people. It's like, oh, that person's ugly, this person's not, this person is, that person, like, oh, that person's got a weird hairdo. Oh, I like that person's sunglasses. It's like we make these like little assumptions and judgments, and if we can get better at recognizing that we make these assumptions
Hmm.
and judgments, we can,
Yeah.
like you were talking about, find the more beauty in them rather than saying like, oh,
Yes.
I don't like that person's hairdo. It can be more so like, oh, that person looks like a nice person. Oh,
Hmm.
they have a cool hairdo. Like
Yes.
it's like this whole like 360 that gives you, and it's not about having the better judgment, like, so you don't make fun of somebody. It's not even about that. It's about bettering yourself, because that it makes you happier when you're not making these micro and macro, like, judgments day in and day out about people, and like
Yeah.
being like, oh, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is
Right.
bad.
Yeah. It's simply a projection of your mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, if if everything really is subjective, then how you cast your judgment on it is how it's going to be true to you.
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe you look at someone with blue hair and you're like, I don't like that, like that feels weird. And then
Yeah.
someone else looks at that and they say, wow, that person is very free that they were able to do that.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
in a way, both are true, because to you it's different and so it feels weird. To the other person, it's freeing. It's like,
Yeah.
why can't both be true? One maybe is a higher value, higher level judgment is a higher view than the other one, but
Yeah.
they're just different views.
Yeah, and it's like, even if you can't agree that, like, that, cool hair, or I like that hair, like, even if you can't agree with that, why not just let it be like that? Like, instead of saying, like, I think that's weird hair, like that, people shouldn't have blue hair. You could be like, that's interesting. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's it. That's all it's got to be. It doesn't have to be like,
Right.
ooh, I wouldn't get that hair. It could just be like,
Yes.
that's an interesting choice of hair color. Because that's a neutral thing to think, and it's like, you don't have to think like, oh, that's cool hair. You could just be like,
Right.
oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting hair
Yeah.
color.
You can take small steps to start choosing better, but like choosing more freeing, more happier beliefs, more happier judgments. And the goal is ultimately to be able to, as much as possible in your own subjective reality, to choose to believe and judge things as positively and beneficial to you as possible. That's the goal. That you can, the goal is to be able to lose your home, lose your job, lose your entire family, everyone has died, and somehow you are still able to live in happiness because you're able to view things and assign positive judgment to everything.
Absolutely. You can only improve your life with doing that. You're not gonna become worse by doing that, and not only does it improve your life, but it also improves other people's lives, because you probably become more pleasant to be around when you're not so judgy. It's like, nobody wants. I think we've all been around people who are super judgmental, and it's kind of icky feeling. It's like it's like it kind of hurts you to realize how much this person is projecting their opinions on everything constantly. It's like, it doesn't feel good. But then
especially
you have somebody positive, and it's great. Sorry.
Right, you feel the
Continue.
difference, and it's like, I know that I've been at those levels, at those stages before, where I've been, okay, I'm not trying to sound arrogant. I am not a guru. I am not a master. I am no leader. All right. But I'm just saying, in my personal subjective opinion, that I've been stuck in some of these lower levels of constant judgment and constant negativity before.
Definitely.
And so when I'm able to like start to shift upwards a little bit, shift my perspective up a little bit, raise my being, my levels of happiness, of shifting to just to be better, then I can now notice when people are at the level that I was at, and it's not somewhere that I want to be, so I don't surround myself with those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is some, because I can relate to that 100%. What's some relatable advice that we could give somebody who is maybe listening and saying like, oh, well, I don't, I don't know how to stop doing that. Like, how do you, like, how do I become a better person, basically?
I would say start questioning that belief right there. Start with the assertion that you just made. I don't know how. Okay, so you believe that you don't have the capacity to change. Notice right there that you've had a negative belief. You have a limiting belief right there. That you believe that you don't know how, you don't have the resources, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the energy. That is limiting you and keeping you in that cycle, in that negative belief. And that, so just start deconstructing these beliefs every time a new one comes up. Like, I don't know this, I don't have this, I can't, it feels better here, I'm comfortable. Just noticing those and labeling them, just labeling them as negative or positive. And then I would say, there's no pressure to change, there's no pressure to like be better. Don't force yourself to be something that you're not, but just start playing around with, what would it be like if I believed I could? How would it feel if I said, what if I started to believe I actually do have the capacity for some of these things? So just like, start at the very basic where you're at. assertions are you telling yourself? What beliefs are you telling yourself right now?
Yeah.
And just start looking at those.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's great advice. And something I would add to that is, as a supplement to what you just said, is listen to people who you value in terms of their beliefs and what and you believe are good people. Like I think what really helped kickstart my journey of becoming a better person is listening to people like Leo Gura, Sam Harris, and other gurus on the platform, and just hearing what they have to say, because they've been doing this stuff far longer than we've even been alive.
Yeah.
And so they know what it's like to be where we're at, and so I think it's a great starting point for anybody. Just listen to them. That's it. There's no specific video that you should go watch. There's no like start here point. It's just get in it. Just do it.
Just start. If you, the first thing you need to do is just to believe that you have the power to do something, that you can take some action, that you can learn something, and just start taking in little things. And eventually if you keep that belief, if that belief never changes, that you have the power to do something, then you will get somewhere better. You will.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it just takes time. I think patience is another big thing to go through this process, and enjoy the process of just wherever you're going. You don't have to know where you're going. Just go on it. I mean, I think that I think that's the most relatable thing ever for anybody, because we're all in this big process of just doing whatever we're doing. So, just learning to love it and not resist it.
Yes.
I think that's all we can do as humans.
So I'm writing down a title idea for this podcast. I have a good one.
Nice.
I'm just trying to, just before I forget it.
No, for sure.
All right, there we go. Dang. What's been going on with you, like, recently?
What has been going on? Well, actually, I'll be going out of town this week. But in the previous weeks, I've just been just slowly figuring things out, or trying to figure things out. Trying to be a big thing for me recently, I would say, is just slowing down and being patient. And kind of like what I just said. Actually, that's funny. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I'm literally focusing on that in my own life right now. Is just slowing down and being patient, and loving the process, and not getting too ahead of myself.
Right.
Because it's so important to just be. Basically, that's it.
Just be.
Yeah.
And just like try to enjoy what's going on as much as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I find it funny every time I journal, or most times I journal, I end up writing down just be, and I always underline be, because it's a constant. It's just a constant in my life of just be. That's all. When in doubt, just be. That's all you need to do. I don't care what situation you're in. If you're struggling, if you're doing great, if you're anywhere in between, just be. That's all you got to do, so.
Right. If you're alive, then you're never going to stop being.
Exactly. So you gotta be. And so you might as well allow yourself to be, so that's I would say that's been a big focus. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But what about you? Have you got anything going on?
Dude, I've been just really pouring a lot of my energy towards making TikTok videos, and like anytime I have an insight, uploading a video on my TikTok, which is called Nurture Your Spirit. And just learning, I've just been learning a lot about belief systems and playing around with that. And
that's awesome, dude.
Not a lot externally is going on, but a lot internally is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's what's so fun about this journey of. It's hard to even call it a journey. Just this life. That's what's so interesting about this life. It's just it's never ending. You don't have to be going out on vacation to figure this stuff out, or you don't have to pay big bucks to figure out. Anybody can figure it out anytime.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Dude, do you believe in reincarnation, or like that our spirit has gone through like many lives? Do you think like
I'm I
that's
don't
possible?
I think anything's possible, so I wouldn't doubt it. But off the top of my head, I don't think that it's a real thing. I have my own
Yeah.
beliefs about I like it's not reincarnation. What's it called in like? I'll explain what I'm trying to say. I feel like you might catch it because I know you're into Hinduism and
Yeah.
you know, anyways, Buddhism.
Yes.
Like I do believe that there's this like this form of like we rub off on everybody type of thing, not literally, but metaphorically. So I think that's the form of living, of staying alive, and like living our lives even after we die.
Okay. What do you think happens when you do die? Like at the moment of death, what do you think happens?
I
Just
don't think there's
curious to
really
know.
anything. I don't think there's anything really like. So do you mean like as you're dying, or like actually once you're dead? Like what happens?
Once you're dead, is there
Okay.
what's going on? Is anything going on?
I don't think there's
What the
anything
hell's
crazy,
happening?
to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I don't think anything really happens. I think you just die, and your body remains decomposed and whatever they might do. I don't think there's any crazy mystical like spirit or soul or anything. I don't think there's anything. I just think there's nothing. I don't think there's anything to be found there. You know,
Yeah.
as sad as that kind of sounds, but it's
Yeah.
it's not sad. It's
Right.
just how I feel like it is.
No, I mean
But
if that's true, it's like it doesn't make like this life any less enjoyable.
no,
If anything, it would
absolutely
make it
not.
more enjoyable. The fact that like
Yeah,
this is a limited experience.
yeah. It
And
is kind of sad to think about, though. You know, it saddens me to
yeah, I
think
mean,
about, in a sense,
yeah.
because you leave
I
things
have my own
behind.
beliefs, but
Okay,
I think like that specific belief about what happens, because I mean, like, who really knows? Like, if that's something that you can
right,
know, like, I don't know if that's something you can figure out in this life. If you're, you know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
Or like maybe it's something you find out, like when you die, you're like, oh shit, there actually is fucking something. Oh my god,
yeah.
like
Whoa,
that'd be
whoa.
cool.
Here I am in
But
hell. No, no.
let's just say, like, I
Yeah,
would not be surprised if there's something more after death. I think that the fact that consciousness exists right now with my body alive, I have a
yeah.
feeling that there's consciousness after my body dies. I have a feeling that like
That'd be cool.
that there's like a greater consciousness of the universe that you kind of like integrate back
Jones.
into, that we come into this form to have limited consciousness, to know what it's
Hmm.
like to be a limited being and to have limitations in our consciousness. But I think that there is a greater consciousness that is infinite and knows everything and loves everything and just is. And I think that's honestly, I think it's just the universe. I think the entire universe, for what
Yeah,
everything is just, I think we just merge back into that. I mean, when we die, our body will merge back into the ground. And I think this consciousness, the consciousness that we have right now, I think is just borrowed from a greater consciousness. And when we die,
dude.
those limitations will be shed, and then our consciousness will enter into infinity. That's what I think
Dude,
will happen. That's my
I love
guess,
it.
and I would love for that to I would love for that to happen. And you know what?
That's
If I
that's
die,
my
nothing.
educated guess. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it is. And if I die and nothing happens, then I'll be dead, and it won't fucking matter.
Exactly. It's like that's the fun of it. It doesn't even matter. But I
Yeah,
like your thoughts there. That'd be cool. I'm down for that,
I
I'm
think
down
that's
for
what
whatever.
happens. Especially,
I'm almost
especially.
certain.
I'm not certain. I have no. I'm not certain at all. Let's get that
I
clear. But
know.
dude,
Uh,
after listening to these like several near-death experience videos of people that have died on the operating table, wherever, and come back to
yeah.
life, and they all report like similar things about like entering into infinite consciousness, it makes me think like, and when they report it, it's like they say it's not a dream. Like this is not like a dream state. It is like as clear as I am alive right now. That's what it's like to be out of your body when you die. That's what they say.
That's so cool.
And so that's what leads me to think that that is a possibility, and that would be honestly really cool.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm down for that. I guess.
All right, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I think other people would be too if they really got it. You know?
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Man.
Like I said, no way to know.
Who knows? Yeah.
But
like I said, maybe
cool
I'll
to
end
talk
up in,
about.
yeah, no, it is. It's really cool to talk about. I mean, it's the hot topic. You know, other than like what is life, I think that's like one of the probably like the second hot topic.
Yeah, it's like, what happens when we die? What is life? Why is anything here? Like those are the questions. You know,
on the next episode of the Boundless Enigma podcast.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing here? That's what we're gonna figure out. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Well, I think we can wrap
give
up.
It a wrap.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Any last words?
Thank you, all of our listeners, our wonderful, wonderful listeners. We're up to 10 followers on Spotify. If you're listening to this and you have not followed us on Spotify, I would highly encourage you. Yes. And you know what? If you're feeling like it, if you're feeling extra generous and you just want to give us some extra love, just giving us that love, here's how you can give us that love. You can physically incarnate that love through an action by clicking on the star thing on Spotify and giving us 5 stars. That is how you can give us love in this manifestation here on Earth. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
Sam, what do you have to say? Anything?
I just gotta say peace. But I agree.
Peace.
Give it a little thumbs up. Peace.
All right.